Okay, so today we're going to continue looking at our Algebra 2 topics, and we're going to start with simplifying rational expressions. So we're going to learn what excluded values are, and then we're going to learn how to simplify a rational fraction. So first of all, let's just talk about what an excluded value is. So in math, we know that it's impossible for the denominator to be 0 of any function. Okay, or any fraction. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to set our denominator equal to 0 and we can solve. But that's all part of how we go about simplifying, is factoring first. So let's just factor the denominator of the bottom here. When I factor the bottom, I'm going to pull out a 10 and I'm going to get 10 times x plus 2, and then the numerator stays the same. So 10 equal to 0 doesn't matter because there's no variable. But x plus 2, if I set that equal to 0, basically x cannot be equal to -2 because then the fraction would not exist. From here, once we've looked at the restricted values, we can then just simplify. And you can only do, this is a whole expression, so you can't factor a 2 out. But we can do the 12 over 10, okay, and that just reduces to 6/5. So my final answer is 6/5 times x plus 2. Okay, so there's my simplification. On the second example, I need factors of 12 that add to 8, and that's going to be 6 and 2. So my denominator factors to v plus 2 and v plus 6. So setting those two factors equal to 0, v plus 2 can't be 0, and v plus 6 can't be 0. So v can't be -2, and v can't be -6. So -2 and -6 are my excluded values. Now, when I go to factor or simplify, I've got this expression v plus 2 and v plus 2. Those are the same, so they cancel out, and it just leaves me with 1 over v plus 6. And that is our final answer, with excluded values of -2 and -6. So when I'm simplifying rational expressions, I'm going to factor them, and I'm going to cancel the like terms or their expressions. So let's look at another example. Here, in this case, out of the top, the only thing I can factor out is the greatest common factor, and the greatest common factor between 28 and 24 is 4. So I'm going to factor out a 4m, and I'm going to get 7m plus 6, and then over 24m. I can't factor anything out of that expression because there's no binomial to factor it from, but I can factor out of here. So 4 over 24 reduces to 1/6, and the m over the m cancels. So I'm left with 1 times 7m plus 6 over 6. Because the 6th is part of one whole big expression and 7m plus 6 is a number, you can't reduce the 6 and the 6. So this is my final answer. Another example, let's factor these. Now, let's factor the top. I need factors of +3 that add to -4. That's going to be -1 and -3, so it factors to r minus 1 and r minus 3. And then I need factors of +8 that factor to -9, and that's going to be -1 and -8, so r minus 1 times r minus 8. And then with my binomials, r minus 1 over r minus 1 cancels, and I'm left with r minus 3 over r minus 8. And if I wanted to know my excluded values, r minus 1 can't be 8 or 0. so r can't be 1, and r minus 8 can't be 0, so r can't be 8. Last example, let's factor in 8 out of the top. So I get 8 times n plus 4 out of the bottom. I'm going to factor out a 2. So I get 2 times n squared plus 6n plus 8. Okay. And then I need factors of 8 because I can still factor the trinomial that multiplied to 6 or add to 6. So it's going to be 2 times n plus 4 and n plus 2. And the n plus 4s are going to cancel. The 8 over 2 cancels to 4. So I get 4 over n plus 2. Okay. So there is a couple examples of simplifying rational fractions. We talked about excluded values. They're excluded because the denominator can't be 0. Okay. And when we simplify, we factor first and then cancel any common factors. Okay. Have a math-tastic day.